how to install a backup camera in a Kubota SVL series loader. The loader you're looking at here is an SVL 95, and what we're installing here is a Eterra CM30 camera. We chose the CM30 camera just because of this style of bracket. It's going to allow us to get it up over the door. What you'll find in the basic kit is a 7-inch monitor with this style of bracket, an extension cable going back to a fuse with a ground wire. There's also a backup wire. You would only ever connect this wire if you wanted the cameras to be momentary, where you want to just have the camera come on or go off as you're backing up. In this case, we want it on all the time. Here's my camera. I've installed the magnets on the bottom. This is going to make it easier for me to install it. I've also got the cable set here. This is the extension cable that's going to go from the monitor out to the camera. And then I have a sun visor hood here. You don't always need that. In some cases you might want to have it, but you won't always use that. It's always a good idea to hook it up to power first, just to check it. In this case, what I've done is just use one of my battery packs here. I've got it installed. You can see the monitor is actually working here. Okay, that's a good sign. Now that makes it easy for me to install it and not have any issues. So what I've done is I've preset where I want to put this. I just look up just above there's a rail just above the door, and I'm just going to put the camera in like this. And I'm going to use the Tech screws to hold it in place, and then I'll set up the angle that I want it at. So now I've placed my monitor here. Now what I'm going to do is later on I will come back with a rat tail file, and I'm going to open up this slot a little bit more so I can get the monitor up as high as possible up against the frame here, so that this frame doesn't come by and touch it when it's up. Now what I'm going to do is over here on the side there is a black wire and a green wire. The black is ground and the green wire is switched power. So I'm going to take that, and that's what I'm going to use to actually run my monitor and my camera system, and then I'll just... So I've just installed my power and my ground here, just using a couple of wire splices right on this main harness. Now I'm just going to tape back the green wire because I'm not going to use it, and I'm going to tie wrap up all the excess cord here, and then run my main cable back to my monitor, or back to my camera. I've tucked my wires all neat and tidy up inside here. There's actually a track that runs along here for wiring. So I took all the excess wire and put it up inside here and slipped a couple of tie wraps through just to hold it up in place. What I want to do is protect all my wiring from this door, because the door is going to be going up and down. You never want to have one of the wires slip down and get in the way. So now with that, I'm going to take my ends here, or one of my ends, and I'm going to run my extension cable down the back of the cab and out through the ROPS and over to the back so that we can connect the camera up. We're going to have to flip the cab up out of the way. So we have to undo this bolt here and this bolt here. I've already removed them, and that way we can flip the cab up and get access to the underside so that we can run the cabling. I've made the connection here for my main cable going to my camera. I've run it through this cable track all the way down the back here, and there's a little grommet right there where the main harness goes down. I just used a screwdriver and I just pried that open a little bit, and I pushed my cable down through there, or my cable end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the ROPS up, I'll feed it through and finish it off, and I can actually use this position here to store my excess cable. When it's all done, I can pull it up inside here, wrap it all up, and just put it down in this hole. Got my cab open here, and as you can see, here's where the cables come through the grommet. Okay, and it's dropped down into the engine compartment just perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed it back through this area here, making sure that I'm tie wrapping it up so it stays out of the way of the engine, and then I'll get it out the back here. Okay, I've just fished the wire through. I didn't use any special tools. I just pushed it through along the side here. I'm going to tie wrap it up along here. I'm going to run it along this cable stay here and just loop it back down around and hook it onto my camera. And then I'll pull up any of the loose ends here and I'll be finished. Here comes one of the easiest parts of this camera installation, actually placing the camera. We use magnets, and I'll adjust it accordingly for what I want to see behind the machine. But we put magnets on here so that if it gets hit by anything, it'll just move. It won't tear anything apart. It won't break the bracket. It'll just move, and you'll know that something's been hit because you'll be able to see it inside, and it just makes things a lot easier and makes your placement a lot easier. If I don't like that position, I can put it up on top. If I need a temporary position somewhere else for some reason, I can move it around. So it just makes things much easier for me to be able to use this. We use a very powerful magnet system on here. They won't rust, they won't break. They'll last for basically forever, and you can move them to wherever you need to have them. So we think this is a great solution for this. Here's the excess cable. Now I'm going to pull that up into the cab. One thing I wanted to point out before I close this up was that when you lift the cab up, make sure that this locks in place so that it doesn't come down on your head when you're climbing around inside here. So when you push it up, it's going to click like that. Now it's locked in place. And then when you want to relieve it and you want to pull it down, just pull this back, pull this thing back here, and then lower the cab back down. With the monitor installed, what I've done here now is I've loosened it back off again and slid everything down. That way I can get the monitor as close to the edge of the door frame as possible. Then I used a rat tail file in here, filed it out a little bit so I could get a little bit more height out of this part of the bracket. This is all adjustment stuff that you have to do just simply because this is such a tight installation. And I want to get the angle as steep as I possibly can here so that I can see it without having to bar in too much of my visibility. And also have it so that when I flip the door up, the door doesn't hit it. And I can still see something with the door up. I'm still able to use the camera. Yes, there's a bar going through the middle of it, but that's about as good as we're going to get in this type of installation. At least the camera's out of the way, it's safe, I've got pretty good visibility, and it's usable. Now let's have a look at what it's like to look through this camera. Pretty good. Here's what the camera looks like inside. It's actually supplying its own infrared light so that I can see inside.